Good morning, good morning. Happy Sunday. Soribel Martinez here with the I Am Unbreakable Live podcast. I am so excited to be here today, and you cannot even imagine who I have here with me. But before I do anything else, give me 1 minute. Let me make sure that we are live on our Facebook page. We are live, and I need to hold on a second. We are live. And Christine, if you want to go ahead and you want to share it with your page as well, that would be super awesome if that's something that you would like to do. Let me, would you like to do that? I think I can also tag you on it. Give me
You have to
1 minute.
tag our radio station, 965tic.com or 965TIC Facebook if you want to tag us.
96.5. Okay, guys, let's start connecting and start sharing this video. There you go. I tagged you and we are here. Hello, hello, everyone. Soribel Martinez here. So welcome. Happy Sunday. I am so excited to be here today. And you will not believe who I have here with me. She is an amazing woman. But most importantly, she is my bougie sister. Do not make a mistake. She's my bougie sister, and we're going to be talking. We're going to be having a conversation here on how to overcome health crises and become unbreakable in our lives, our business, our career. Her name is Christine Lee from Salt. What is it called? The Salt.
Christine and Salt in the morning on 96.5 TIC, which you have joined us on already. I was glad to have you as a guest.
Yes, I was nominated by my good friend Maria as the Badass Woman of the Week. And that's how I met Christine Lee. And since then, we have made a soul connection. And she has such an amazing vibe. Her energy is great. She is a survivor. She is a badass woman. She is unbreakable. She is amazing. And I was like, you know what? She needs to come here with me to the I Am Unbreakable podcast and share her story. And as you already know, my name is Soribel Martinez. I am a licensed clinical psychotherapist in the state of Connecticut, the CEO of SMPsychotherapy Counseling Services, and the best-selling author of Unbreakable. And Christine Lee is here with me, and we are going to have a very genuine, candid conversation about how to overcome health crises and become unbreakable. Christine, introduce yourself and let us know who you are.
Well, you touched on my job, which is a morning host on 96.5 TIC, which I've been there since 1996.
Wow.
I'm a wife. I'm a mom to two grown sons, an 18 and an almost 21-year-old. My husband and I have been married since 1999, 24 years. I grew up overseas. I lived in Europe for 18 years. My father was in the military. It was kind of a hard life, moving around every 6 months to 2 years, always leaving friends behind. You learn to put up a lot of walls, but you also learn to make new friends easier. And then when I came back to the States, I went to college in Nebraska, and then I got my master's at Syracuse online before the pandemic. I've run marathons. I've jumped out of planes. I've had cancer and it's in remission. I have lupus. I've gained weight. I've lost weight. I've gained weight again. I've lost my hair. But all of that is like makes me who I am, and it makes me stronger. It helps me know my own strength, as Whitney said, and so all of that is part of who I am. And I wouldn't change a thing because I think all of that brought me to you, Soribel.
Yes. I am a firm believer, Christine, that we attract the people that we are.
Mm.
Do you believe that?
Yeah, because you're holding up a mirror, And so, as hard of a pill of that is to swallow when you're in a toxic relationship, it makes sense when you're in a positive relationship because you're putting out positive vibes. And I would never blame this isn't about victim blaming, where like if you're sad and depressed, misery loves company. Sometimes it's hard to break out of that cycle because sometimes, and I've been there, my uncle died by suicide, depression runs in our family. And I know that when you put out, when you're trapped in feelings of sadness and depression, that sometimes you feel like you can't attract someone who is positive and makes you feel good. And that's why therapy is so important, to kind of help you change that. So the reflection you see is that positive version of yourself that is deep down in there.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. And when I met you and you did the interview, I felt your energy. I felt that that connection, right? Like it was like instant soul connection, and I am so grateful for you. And when I met you, when I met you in person, the last thing that I would have thought is that you had lost your hair, right?
Yeah.
And I experienced something similar when I had brain surgery. My hair had to be shaved. I always use wigs because I like it. I think it's a beautiful accessory for women. Yes, honey. Yes, yes. I think it's a beautiful accessory. But can you imagine how judgmental it can be for a lot of people when women decide to wear this beautiful accessory? But the good news is like we don't have to suffer, right?
No, I call it faux hair fabulous. Like I always hated the term wigs. I'm like, that just sounds like something from like the 1800s, old white men standing in a courtroom. Like it's like, this is faux hair fabulous. It's your hair. It is your hair. You bought it. It's your hair.
Yes.
And it's like any other accessory, anything else that you wear, it changes your personality, it goes with your style. And anyone who has a problem with it, it says more about them than it says about you. And I always tell people who ask me about, well, what if someone gives you a hard time about wearing, fake hair or whatever? I'm just like, well, then they've done you a favor. They've revealed themselves for who they are, and they don't belong around you. I know it's hard if it's family who makes comments, but truly they've revealed a layer of themselves to you. There's nothing wrong with accessorizing from head to toe, whether you need wigs or not. Like, even if you have all your hair, who cares? Like, have fun.
Yes, yes. And I like the idea of like the accessory that makes you feel a certain kind of way, right?
Mm-hmm.
On Thursday for my book launch, I had a updo, like my hair was up and
Yes.
big, right? And today I get to wear the hair that I feel the most connected to. And it makes me feel fabulous. And I'm sure that I look fabulous, of course.
Why do you feel most connected to that hair? That's interesting.
Right now,
Oh,
for
just
this
right now
moment,
you feel the most.
yes, this is what I feel. This is what I wanted. But
Yes.
Thursday, I wanted that hair. Thursday, I wanted to show up with that hair.
That was power hair right there.
It was just powerful, right?
It was powerful. It was powerful. It was. And I wanted bangs. Like, I don't know. I was feeling like the fringe today. I don't know why. Because last time I saw you, it was parted in the middle. It was all blonde. And today I was like, you know what? I feel like, I don't know, a little 1960s bang and maybe like a beachy wave. I get it. Like, and I love it. And I wish more women would not beat themselves up about it.
Yes. And you know what? As part of this concept of how do we gives ourselves permission to be who we are.
Yeah, it takes
And
work.
come into every single room in the way that we feel the most connected and powerful and beautiful, regardless if it's the earrings or the necklace or the hair or the makeup or the pants or the shirt. It doesn't really matter. It's all about how do you feel your best self.
And I think that that comes from struggle and hard work, and something that I know you touch on a lot. And a lot of us hear voices in our head from maybe people who had influence over us when we were younger, and it's hard to erase that tape recording of negativity
Yep.
and replace it and record over it with something positive. And that just takes work and more work. I remember I was running the Marine Corps Marathon in 2010, and I heard a pop in my hip. I was at mile 24, and I knew right then. And you talked about this in your book launch about your strength. I remember then I had a choice. I could sit down on the side of the road and I could cry because it hurt. I could quit. The medics were right there, or I could figure out a way to push through. And I did. I tied my waist belt around my thigh so I wouldn't feel it. And, the obstacle was the pain. The opportunity was to finish and get home to my kids who were waiting for me. It was Halloween. And I had promised them that I would be home to go trick-or-treating. And so, like, it's mental. A lot of this is, I was physically in pain, but mentally I was stronger than the pain that I was feeling. And that's learned. That's
Yes.
practiced and learned.
Yes, because I always tell people, because the reality is that this worldwide movement of Unbreakable is not about perfection.
Mm-mm.
Actually, it's about tapping into your passion, into your strength, understanding what are the areas of growth that we need, right? Because we all need to growth in different areas. Understanding what could be the threats that can threaten you success in life, business, or career. And for me, as I always tell people, I have plenty of reasons to sit in a corner and cry.
Yeah.
We all do.
Yeah.
I'm sure you have your own set of challenges, but it takes that one point, that one first step, which is deciding
Yes.
that sitting in the corner and crying is not going to be the choice that we make.
Yeah. And it's like, it's okay to cry. It's okay to be in those feelings, but don't have a pity party that lasts, and then 2 years go by and you're still in that pity party. I remember one time I was complaining about something, and my mom looked at me, and she's had enough of it. And she's just like, well, it sounds to me you're exactly where you want to be. In other words, I was making the decision to be miserable, and I was going to be miserable because that's apparently what I wanted. And when she said that to me, I was like, okay, I need to snap out of it. And you're right. It's a mental thing. You have to decide to try and find whatever tools you need to keep it moving.
Yes, I remember when I was first diagnosed with the two brain aneurysms and I needed surgery, I created the bounce back from the dirty shell process, right? And the bounce back from the dirty shell process teaches my people, my clients, my students, my everyone that I attend to help, including the Unbreakable book, is that you get to acknowledge your emotions. We don't want to support the emotions. We don't want to ignore the emotions. We want to become the gentle observer of those emotions.
It's like, you never know how strong you are until strong is your only option. Like when you had those brain aneurysms, you didn't have any other option. You didn't. You had no other option than to be strong and go through the surgery. Otherwise, you would cease to exist. And so you find your strength when things get really hard. And I remember when I was running, I don't run anymore because, lupus and cancer in my body, and I'm swimming now. It's not the same. But I remember when I was running and I would have a bad run day where I would cramp or whatever. And I remember always thinking, like, I like the bad days, the bad running days, because I know a good day's coming. Because it's always going to be, there's always going to be a negative, a bad, an awful day, whatever. That means a good day's on the horizon.
Yes. Yeah, because I definitely believe that when the storm passes, the sun always have to rise, right? It was promised to us that after every single storm, after every single rain, we will see the sun come out and give us the shine that we need so we can continue on the path.
Yeah, joy comes in the morning. Yeah,
Yes,
absolutely. And
yes,
it's I just keep coming back, and you talk about this all the time about, being unbreakable. It doesn't mean being perfect. It means using the toolkit that you have to get you through the next second, minute, day, month, year, so that you can be your best self. I was diagnosed with cancer during the pandemic, and people
wow,
are always like, "Oh, that must have been so hard." It was. But I always looked at it as it was a blessing that I was diagnosed with cancer during COVID, because I was already working from home. If I had gotten cancer during normal times, I would have had to take 3-4 months off of work.
yes,
And this was before Connecticut enacted the Family Protection Act.
yes, yes.
I would have had to, I couldn't even hardly get out of bed. But because I had cancer during COVID and I was already working from home with my home studio, I was able to stumble down the hall, do the morning show, and then go back to bed. And I was able to, so it was a blessing. It really
Yes,
was. And it's how you think of things.
yes, because the truth is that every crisis,
Hmm.
every adversity, every single pandemic in our life
Yes.
has the seed of something good in it,
Right.
right?
That's, you're talking about the mango tree. And you made me like, after you did the whole mango tree analogy, like, first of all, I had mango on the brain, so I wanted mangoes. Like, so thank you. But that stuck with me. That was a brilliant analogy. And I mean, I love that story.
Yes, because here is the thing. We see the mango tree, right? People will see Christy Lee doing her show, amazing, beautiful. Like I will never think when I saw you that you have overcame cancer. You look gorgeous. You look put together because you choose to get out every day and put yourself together and confront the world and life in the way that you want to, right? So you are the fruit, right? But nobody knows like what was done, what was the work that needed to be done so that seed can produce this beautiful product. So think about the tree of mango. We see the tree of mango produces thousands of mangoes, hundreds of mango. And my uncle sent me a tree the other day, and the tree was like this because there's so many mangoes on the mango tree. But the truth is that that mango tree only needed one seed. There was not 100 million trillion seeds planted for that mango tree to produce what it needed to produce. So here's the thing. What we need is one blessing, one opportunity,
Mhm.
one sun to rise and come out when we are struggling, right?
But also to recognize that blessing. How many blessings go through your life that you don't see or acknowledge or realize are actually a blessing? Like, that's one of the things that I need to work on. And that after, witnessing your testimony, you stood up there and you're like, I'm a strong, beautiful woman. I don't come to play. Like, you say all these things, and I feel like I need to repeat that every single day so that I can realize the blessings I have daily. Sometimes, oftentimes, like when I had cancer, I was open to receiving the blessings because I was like, I am grateful to be alive. Now that it's in remission, I am less cognizant of the blessings. And after I met you, I realized I need to be more cognizant of the daily blessings.
Yes. I have made a decision a long time ago that every single day I will remind myself why I'm here. Because here is the thing, when I was diagnosed and I told the story, right? How difficult it was. I felt like my life stopped. I felt
Mhm.
like I was gonna leave my son motherless and all of those things. And for me is about not looking at the imperfections of my life, but looking at the things that I do have.
Yeah.
It's so much that I have. I'm not talking about the shoes and the hair and the makeup and the fabulous lifestyle that I give myself. I'm talking about life.
Hmm.
Friends like you, people that I meet like you, right? Like Anamin, like Yesenia, like Marta, like Rebecca, like all these women who follow me, right? Like Mayra that came and supported me, right? I could say, well, I could have had 200 people there. But the most important people that were there are the people that I'm grateful for because they decided to show up.
They did. And that tells you everything you need to know about them. That they show up when you need them to show up. I met some of those amazing women that you were just mentioning, and Candace, and I met Rebecca, and Chrissy Barabal Ortiz, who was there, who I know she was personally touched by your story about loss of pregnancy. Because Chrissy has her own powerful story about infertility and loss. And that's why she created the power2be.com. That's why the Be Badass
Oh,
was
I got it
born,
too. I got it too.
because she and her sister couldn't get pregnant and they were struggling with fertility. They have children now. They believe in themselves and the medical professionals who helped them, but it was a
Yes,
long, long road. And you told that story about
I
your
did.
own struggle. And I don't even know if you saw how emotional Chrissy got sitting there watching you tell that story, because it reminded her of her strength and what she's overcome.
Yeah. Because you see, once again, we can either focus on what it is that is not available to us, or we
Yeah.
can focus on, the miracle of medicine. I always say, people used to tell me, but instead of having brain surgery, why don't you pray for a miracle? I say, I already have the miracle. God gave these people the knowledge and the intelligence to go to school and learn how to go inside of my brain and fix the problem. To me, that is the biggest miracle that I can ask for.
Yeah. Yes, I've seen there's so many memes that go around like that. You've seen them to do with COVID or whatever, and it's like, God, why don't you send me a miracle to help me out of this pandemic? And God's like, I did. I sent you the COVID shot. Like,
Exactly.
whatever. I sent you the mask. I sent you the stay 6 feet apart. I sent you, whatever. And people again not realizing the miracles and the blessings that are around them.
Yes, yes. Look what just Yesenia says. I said
I
it was
love it.
until I stopped complaining every morning that I was able to overcome the morning pains and keep going through the day. It is the mindset.
It is. It is. And some of the best quotes, when I was running, I bought this book called The Quotable Runner, and it's very specific to running, but you can apply it anywhere. It's like a lot of times, you find passages in the Bible that it can be plugged into anything, whether you're religious or not. Like just do unto others, like that kind of thing. But these runners quotes, like, if you don't think you can fi- finish the race, why are you on the starting line? Like things like that. Like, you got to believe in yourself.
Yes.
Why are you out here? Like, believe.
Yes, because right, because it's that decision, right, that we make that either is going to allow us to succeed or it's going to allow us to fail. And people don't realize how much power do we have in creating the life that we desire to have. It has to be a choice.
But even in failure, there are blessings. Like, and you said succeed or fail. Hi, Anamine. It's succeed or fail. There's lessons to be learned in both, and I mean more so failure, really. I think every story you told that night was centered around hardship, where you grew the most, and are then able to pass along, what you learned about
Yes.
yourself. And
Yes.
other people take that and say, yeah, I need to change my mindset.
Yes. Because the way that we look at the adversity, the way that we look at the health crisis, the way that we perceive it is what's going to make the difference in the way that we either respond or react to it. Right?
Yes.
Right. So tell me a little bit the story about how did you discover that you had cancer? Tell me how that came about.
I was diagnosed with lupus when I was 45. And that in and of itself, as you know, anytime you actually get a diagnosis, it's been a long time that you've been struggling. So finally, they said subacute cutaneous lupus, which was lupus of the skin. But my hair had fallen out. Alopecia runs in my family. And then I was feeling so tired, and they said it's turned into systemic lupus, so lupus throughout the whole body. And I had like this tumor like thing on my chin, like a growth.
Mhm.
And I'm like, because lymph nodes and lupus, like I
Yeah.
just thought that was part of lupus. And they ended up biopsying it, and then they're like, no, that's lymphoma. So, and I found out that lupus and lymphoma, not that they go hand in hand, but oftentimes if someone who has lupus develops a cancer, it is oftentimes lymphoma. It turns out the treatment for lymphoma also treated the lupus, and both are kind of on the like in remission now. I feel so much better. Um, I still wear the hair though. I'm never going to go back to my own nasty bio hair. Like forget it. I've got alopecia. It's thin, and
I get
so
it.
that was a blessing to come out of all of this. I get to have the hair of my dreams.
Oh my God. And you look so fabulous, like with your hair. You look fabulous. I love it. I didn't even notice until you told me.
That day I met you, I was like, are you sure it's like you can't see the lace at the
I
top?
didn't notice. I didn't notice.
I love it. That's like the best compliment in the world for someone who also wears hair to not be able to tell that someone they just met. Like that's a good one. So thank you.
Of course. And you know what? That day I was so surprised that I met you,
I
that
know.
you were there, that the universe put us there in that moment. I was just sucking it in. Like I just sucked in the energy and that the power of you being there, me being there, Nessie that was there. I was like,
Yeah.
oh, this is great.
It was incredible. And like she's talking about, we were at the this place called IV Therapy The Fix in West Hartford Center, and we had both gone in to get a vitamin drip. And like I was there because I'm going through menopause. I'm 51. I'm just like I had to take my glasses off because they're fogged up. I'm sweating. And you were there because you were like felt like you were coming down with something and you wanted a boost. And I saw you walk in. I'm like, that's got to be Soribel, because we'd never met before. We'd only
Yeah.
spoke on the phone. And I'm like, nobody looks like Soribel. Nobody looks like you. And I'm like, that's her.
You
That is
sure?
her. And it was you.
Yes, and it was so nice to see you. Like I wasn't even paying, like I really didn't notice until you said it. And something that I do want to say is that one of the things that has helped me in my life, besides the bounce back from the Jody Share process and implementing it, is having support.
Yes.
And one of the things that I see women struggling with, whether if we're going through health crises or not, that we have a really hard time accepting support.
Yeah. Why? I mean, and why is that? Because I tend to isolate um, when I get overwhelmed. I tend to isolate. And the pandemic didn't help because I was isolating as it was, we all were. And I know
Yeah.
the pandemic sent many people backwards in time. Like it sent for many different reasons, like people who had to be in their home on the lockdown when they were in unhealthy relationships, people who had depression, people whose tendency is to isolate and block others out. I'm an only child. So I've always been kind of on my own,
Yes.
but I really find it hard to reach out to others. And that's another reason I'm so glad I met you. And then because of you, I met Rebecca. And because of you, I met Candace. And because of you, I saw Chrissy again. And I realized how important it is to have women in my life, strong women, to help uplift you when we're not feeling so powerful.
Yes. And you know what that's one of the things that helped me a lot in my life was to have people around me who really believed in me, they loved me, and they supported me. And I want to encourage you, Christine, and the other women to always understand that we don't have to do it alone. Now you have me, you have all these women, you have an that. I mean, we were even joking about George better take care of you because now you have us.
I know, I love that. I'm coming for you.
I'm coming for you, George, if you're listening. You better take care of my girl, which he does. It's just, us joking as women. We need to let go of that superwoman complex that we have to do it all.
Look at my glasses all fogged up. That's why I started the Badass Woman of the Week, because initially I wanted to celebrate women doing everyday things, living their lives. Like, I wanted to celebrate a woman who just got her 3-year-old potty trained. That's a badass woman.
Oh, yeah.
You don't have to have solved, peace in the Middle East. Like, I'm not looking for people who, like, if you have, we want to celebrate you too. But I'm looking for women who are living their lives. They're badass women, and we need to celebrate that. Yes. And because I think a lot of us have a hard time celebrating our success. You're very good at it. You're very good at shouting from the rooftops, like, your accomplishments, and saying, like, everything they do. I'm not so good at that. I tend to, like, kind of shy away from talking about my accomplishments, what I've done. And I hope that the Badass Woman of the Week can help women amplify their success, because men aren't afraid of touting what they've done.
They don't apologize.
In fact, they exaggerate. Like, why don't we do that? Like, I would like to see more of that.
Well, I think that part of the reason why we don't do that is that even from the beginnings of time, women, we were taught to be modest.
Yes.
To be humble. Yeah. Well, humble with the wrong definition of what humbleness means.
Right.
Because being humble doesn't mean hide your accomplishment, doesn't mean do not celebrate yourself. And here is the thing. If you don't celebrate you, who will?
Right. I know. But it's hard because like you said, we've been so ingrained into thinking that we need to celebrate oftentimes masculine people, men's, successes over our own. I remember growing up, my dad, like, it was always him who was celebrated, not my mother, my strong, amazing mother. It was always his successes. It was his everything. Yes. And I learned that to kind of put myself behind others. And that's, like, not good. And it's really hard to shout from the rooftops everything that I've done, because I feel like I'm bragging. And
but here's the thing, though, and I got some chills then when you say that. It's like, when you have decided in your life to not let life situation and adversity take over, and you decide to fight back and be a warrior and be a big woman and do what you got to do and show up, take care of your kids, overcome the cancer, change your mindset, do the work, reach out, you have the reasons and you have the license to brag.
But you do it so well. When you say, I am a beautiful woman, look at me, it doesn't come across as like, oh, who does she think she is? It comes across as empowering when you say it. And it's like, it's also the way you say it. Like, it's truly obvious that you love yourself. Like, I was I did a podcast when I was in grad school with about the Superwoman complex. I did a podcast in grad school about why there aren't more women in radio, and I talked to this woman who was the president of a publication, a radio publication, and she had been in the business for over 40 years, and she's like, men will see an opportunity and there's 10 requirements and they maybe meet 5 of them. Mm-hmm. And they'll throw their hat in the ring and they'll say, I can do that. Yep. Whereas women will see an opportunity, 10 requirements, they meet 9 of them and they'll say, I don't meet all the requirements, I can't do it. And that hit me so hard because I'm like, yes. We need to throw our hat in the ring, even if like you meet 5 requirements, that's over half.
Yes. And here is the thing. I decided that I was born ready. I decided that I was born ready. By the way, I want a radio show, so we need to talk about that.
We need to talk.
I was born ready. Last night, like around 1 a.m., I received a message from Univision saying that they want me to come to Miami to do a segment.
Oh my God.
Girl, I don't need nothing to think about. That is a yes. Just let me know when, the day, so I can get there. I already told Nancy that she needs to be working on who's going to do my makeup and what I'm going to wear, because I am not saying no to my purpose and my vision.
No.
We can't.
No.
So I think that part of the thing is that because we were pre-programmed to believe that we are only good at certain things, mm-hmm. that we're not capable of everything else. And that is a lie from the devil. That is what I call a lie from the devil.
Yeah, you are, I can't see. Now, this is a really interesting turn in the conversation because think about the women's lib movement. And a lot of women in the 60s and 70s didn't think that other women should be burning their bras. Women couldn't even open up a checking account without a man signing off. And a lot of women were brainwashed into thinking that that's okay. You had women out there actively campaigning against the women's movement.
Yes.
And I saw somebody, and I wish I could remember who it was, but she said, at first I was mad at these women for campaigning against my efforts. And then I realized that they just don't know any better. And I need to teach them. And that is like a full circle moment because that's kind of what you're doing.
Yes.
You're not mad at people who don't understand. No. You're teaching them how to see what you see.
Yes, because there's something that I heard from Maria Teresa de Calcuta, that she said that she will never go against war. If you notice, you never saw Maria Teresa of Calcutta talking about against war or against any issue. She was pro-peace. Mm-hmm. I'm not against none of it. I am pro you becoming unbreakable in your life and your business and your career and becoming the woman that you were created to be, period. Mm-hmm. So my mission is not to argue what movement is what. I am focused only on the movement that God put in my heart, which it is to give you the tools and the strategies so you can become unbreakable.
Now, what would you say? Like, so you're very accomplished, self-made. You have a lot of letters after your name. You got a lot of letters after your name. I went back to school in my late 40s and got my master's. It's a lot of work.
Yes.
You're working on your doctorate.
Yes.
How do you tell people, and women in particular, who ask you, how do you find the time and resources to fit that in so that you can achieve your ultimate goal of, Dr. Soribel Martinez, with a therapist in every single state across the country, including the DR? That's what you told me. And I know you're going to do it.
Yeah.
How do you make not get overwhelmed by the big picture?
Here is the truth. And I share this in my book launch, right? My intention was not to become a licensed. I was already licensed, approved for years, but I didn't want to become licensed. I wanted to become a coach. But becoming a coach requires some resources that I didn't have at the time. So what God told me is to begin where I was.
That's powerful. Begin where you are.
Yes. And go with the path of least resistance.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So I started where I was, and I'm getting all the chills in this session. I don't know why, but it's just like, there you go again. That's what people say when I start going like this, because it's just like it begins to just flow, right? So I began where I was. I share with you guys that I didn't have money to rent a space. I share with you guys that there was a friend of mine who gave me the money so I can register for the exam. Not because I wasn't making good money, it's because my dreams were too freaking big. Yeah. They were so big that the resources that I had couldn't match what I wanted to do, but I needed to begin where I was so I can walk into that big purpose and vision. So that's how I started. I started doing in-home services. I started paying somebody $20 per session so I can see people in their office. That's how I began, until everything began to grow. And now we are where we are. So how do not get overwhelmed is the first step is you have to align your purpose with your vision and your mission. Mm-hmm. 2, you need to stop thinking that you have to be the superwoman and that you need to honor the superwoman syndrome. Let it go. You don't need to be a superwoman. You need to allow, as a queen who's building a queendom, you need to allow others to support you. Boom. That is the secret.
You have to repeat that though. Your vision, your power, your mission. Like that's like align your vision with your purpose and your mission.
Yes.
And I remember just figuring out your purpose outside of, for many of us who are moms, some of us, our purpose is to be a mom, and some of us, our purpose is to be a mom plus. Like I don't want women to ever feel bad about saying, because I've had people come up to me and say, well, I'm just a stay-at-home mom. No, you're not. You are not just anything.
No, you're not. You are the mango seed.
You are the mango seed.
Like, no. Being successful as a mother.
Yes.
It's a big thing.
Sometimes I feel like there's a two-edged sword here with lifting women up, because sometimes when we lift women up, other women internalize that as, I'm not like that. I'm not that powerful. I'm not that strong. I'm not, instead of the mirror that we were talking about, seeing, like, I see myself, I see you and I'm like, oh my God, she's reflecting on me. I don't feel bad about myself. But the reality is a lot of people sometimes do. And they say, I can't do that. I'm not doing that. It's just, you got to flip that switch.
Yes. And this is why I created the Unbreakable movement. And now we have the Unbreakable course.
Yes.
Because you can become successful in whatever area your purpose is. Right. Your purpose in life may not be writing books and going around the world and talking about, all these different things. Maybe your purpose is being that amazing, powerful, joyful, grateful, amazing mom to your children, and that you are planting the seeds so they can go and multiply this into the next generations.
Right.
We're not just anything. We are everything.
And to look at someone and to find, it goes back to being your own hero. I have met my hero and she is within me. And to being proud, to look at other women and say, I'm proud of her. I'm not going to compare myself to her because her circumstances are different from mine. But I can learn something from what she's done, her successes and her failures. And I can implement that in my own life. And I know that that's your that unbreakable. There's no better word for it than unbreakable.
Yes, because here's the thing. Something that I do really well in my life too is, Christine Lee, is that I do not look at what anybody else is doing. I do not.
That's hard.
Don't ask me. Don't
Yeah.
ask me who my competitors are.
Yeah. Because it
I have
doesn't
no.
matter.
Well, no, I don't have any competition.
That's a good
And
attitude.
they don't have any competition. And you don't have any competition. And then Nancy that doesn't have any competition. And Yesenia doesn't have any competition. And Yvette doesn't have any competition because everybody was designed in a unique way with unique talents and gifts and qualities that are just made for them.
See, now you started out this conversation how I'm your bougie sister. I have to tell you something. My husband and I, we went down to was it Myrtle Beach because our youngest son was playing in a baseball tournament down there, and I didn't know what to bring. I was like, I've never been to Myrtle Beach before, so I just bring whatever. And so we went out to dinner, and the lady who served us, we went to some like sushi dive bar, but we were all dressed up, you know. And she's like, "Y'all are the bougiest people I've ever seen," and I took it as a compliment. Like I was like,
It is a compliment.
"Thank you." She's like, I But then when I met you, I'm like, I want this woman to meet you because I think we could like. There's nothing wrong with wanting to look nice and dress nice and have fun and splurge. There's nothing wrong with it, and I think sometimes women are made to feel like they shouldn't do that, and you
Yes.
can.
Listen, the first time that I learned the word bougie, people used to call me bougie all the time, but I was embarrassed to ask people what it meant
Thank you.
because I didn't know what it meant.
I thought it was a negative, right?
Uh-huh.
Yeah,
Until
it sounds like it's a negative.
well, people intended to be.
Right, like you're so bougie. Like, yeah, what's wrong with that?
Well, now I say I am bougie and I'm proud of it. Right? So the truth is that, like we don't have to apologize.
No,
We don't
never.
have to explain it.
No,
We don't have to explain it. We
no,
can just be who we are and embrace that.
that's right. That's 100% right. I feel like one of the things, like we have young high school students come to the radio station, to learn about getting into communications. And one of the things that I always tell the young ladies who come through, I always tell them never ever apologize in the workplace unless you made a mistake and the apology is warranted. I hear so many women just saying, "I'm sorry, I didn't hear you." You don't need to apologize for not, like, just stop. Like we apologize way too much. And again, that goes back to us being ingrained in our brains to be humble and second and behind every great man there's a woman type thing. And we're so used to that, and we have to, I feel like that has to stop.
Well, for me, is this way. If a man is going to find his greatness for me to be behind him, then he's never going to find it. He's never going to find his greatness, honey.
Is it too early to start drinking? I need to cheers you for that.
Well, we don't have to drink. You know what I mean? Like, the thing is this, is the message I would want women to receive is this. You don't have to be like us. I don't want you to be like me because I don't want to be like you. I want you to be yourself and embrace your greatness and decide that being unbreakable is the only choice. That being that woman that has the tools and the strategy. Remember, this is not about perfection. No, I don't want to be perfect. That is so damn boring. Like, why would I even want to be perfect? I don't want to be perfect. I want to be imperfect because in my imperfection, you can see my greatness. And we can see Christine. Yes. We can see Christine's greatness. We can see the ladies' greatness that are following us and trying to create their own legacy and their own kingdom. So listen. This is like the most amazing conversation.
So fun.
Let me ask you this. If you can share with us one thing that has made you the most unbreakable, and I want you to brag like you have never bragged in your whole life, because you are unbreakable, Christine. You and George are just amazing couple doing great things. He supports you. He loves you. You love him. What is the one thing that you have done in your life that has set you apart so you can become the woman that you are today?
Oh my God.
Brag.
I know. I feel like as I've gotten older, I have gotten to the point where I don't give a I've no more blanks to give. And when I was in college in 1993, I graduated with like all B's. I don't know, 3 point something. I didn't take school very seriously. I've always wanted to get my master's degree. I've always wanted to continue on. And so finally, I just decided in 2018 that I was going to go back to school. And I did not think that I could get into the most prestigious communication school in the country. I didn't feel that I had what it takes. And I just decided I'm going to apply to one school, and I'm going to apply to the one school that I want to go to. And that was Syracuse University's famed SI Newhouse School of Communications. It's got a 2.4% admission rate. It is very hard to get into. And I sent off my application. I waited. I got the letter back, the email that said I was accepted, and I threw up. Like, I couldn't believe it. And even when I was accepted, I didn't believe that I belonged there. And I'm like, oh, now they're going to realize that they accepted the wrong person. I don't belong here. I started school in Soribel. I graduated. The plaque is over here I got my little award up there. I graduated with all A's at the top of my class, the highest. And I got a Newhouse Syracuse University Outstanding Achievement in Journalism Innovation in June of 2019 when I graduated. I graduated with straight A's. I proved that I belong. And that to me is like one of the things that I'm most proud of.
Look at the girl cheering you on. Yeah, girl,
I know.
brag, brag.
Oh my God, Anna, I love her so much.
Look at these women. Yes. Yeah. You know what? You are amazing, Christine.
Thank you.
And I hope that you truly believe that, because you
I
really
do.
are.
But I couldn't believe I got into that school. And even after I got in, I thought they had made a mistake. That's how bad I was on myself, how down I was. And it felt good to be like, hell yes, I not only do I belong here, but I'm going to graduate top of my class.
That's right, because you can. You decided that that's what you wanted and you went for it.
I did.
So how long have you been in the radio? Since 1996, you've been in the radio.
So, well, 1996 at 96.5 TIC, I started at Armed Forces Radio and Television Services in 1991. That was in Kaiserslautern, Germany. I've been in radio for over 30 years. I've traveled the world. I've met some amazing people like we lived in Italy, England, Germany, Turkey, Spain, Greece. I remember as a little kid in kindergarten in Ankara, Turkey, every morning hearing the call to prayer and how beautiful it was. I wish more people could step outside their city, their town, their country, and meet other people in other parts of the world. I know it's not cheap, but even just trying to embrace other people other than American in the American experience. And so I don't know. I feel like I'm very lucky for the childhood that I had, as much as I complained about it when I was going through it, because it was a lot. I feel now very lucky to have experienced so much, in the first 18 years of my life.
Well, and it has made you the sensitive, diverse woman.
Yeah.
That's so important for us women to be able to recognize other women, to be able to see the good in others, to be able to not have limitations in terms of how we see others.
To see the beauty in other people, other religions, other cultures, other languages, to be curious and fascinated, and want to learn. You know, people don't like what they fear, and if you learn about something, the fear goes away. And I just wish more people could learn about others.
Yes, because you see, here's the thing, right? If we all were the same, we all look the same. If I was blonde with green eyes, I wouldn't be Soribel girl. I would be like
No.
something, right? Right? So exactly. So the diversity in our world, it teaches us a lot about love, compassion, acceptance, self-acceptance, self-love, so we can extend that love to others, right?
For sure, 100%, 100%. But you are so inspiring, and I just love everything that you're doing and all the moves you're making. You are a star. A lot of people, I was telling a friend, my coworker, Salt, I was telling him all about your Unbreakable event. And I said, she's accomplished a lot of things that a lot of us have. She's overcome adversity many, many times. She's had a health crisis, but she tells it in a way that nobody else can. You have a star power. You have this, like you said, like you're a preacher. Like you connect with the people around you, whether it's one person or 200. You have that certain something. You should do a TED talk. Like
We are.
you have it. You have it.
We are.
You're doing a TED talk?
We are working on a TED talk.
Oh, you need to do one. You absolutely need to do one. It's such a compelling story, but only you can tell it the way you tell it. And it's
no, that is true for every woman. Let me tell you what is the secret to that. The secret to that is that we decide to take the pen from other people. We take that pen, the power. The pen is the power. Yes, we're going for TikTok for sure. We take the pen, which represents the power that people has hold on us. We take the pen and we decide to write the story ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
And we can all do that in our own way. I want a TV show. I want a radio show. I want few TED Talks. I want to be international. I am creating this worldwide movement because I want women like you and I to understand that they no longer have to sit in the back of their car, that they can take the wheel and they can do whatever it is that they desire to do. Period.
Period.
Girl, I love you.
Period. I love you too.
Can you do that? Yes. Well, guys, we have come to the end of this amazing episode with Christine Lee. And I hope that you guys had an amazing, amazing time. Christine, how can people connect with you? Where can they find you?
Oh, you can find me on Instagram, at Christine and Salt. And then you can also go to our website, christineandsalt.com or 965tic.com. You can email me, you can DM me, you can reach out anytime. I always love to hear from other women, and I'm here for anything. And what an honor. Thank you for having me on your show. This was awesome.
Right? This was an amazing conversation. I hope the ladies are on fire out there. They're like, yes, have good hearts. Oh
I
my
feel
God.
like I've been to church and now I can go take on the day. So thank you.
Go ahead. Okay, my loves. I love you guys. I see you on our next episode on Sunday. Come join me. I have another amazing woman that has an amazing story for us. Join us, and I'll talk to you soon. Adios. Besitos, besitos. Ciao.